In the constantly changing world of turf grass management, one word stands out above all others: knowledge. Knowledge is the assimilation of information that allows you to make decisions and choices based on facts, not on fiction. And facts are vital when undertaking perhaps the single most important cultural practice associated with turf management: mowing. Raising the Standard of Mowing Management is an educational and training video featuring the practice and technique of mowing as endorsed by the British and International Golf Greenkeepers Association. Mowing, trimming, cutting, clipping, whatever name you use, on a golf course, the objective remains the same: to develop and maintain a suitable surface on which to play the game of golf. Correct mowing practice encourages the rapid development of newly sown or planted grass, promotes the density of established turf, and serves to check the growth of weeds. Up to 60% of a typical golf course maintenance budget is spent on labor costs, and up to 75% of that amount may be spent during the growing season on cutting the grass. But it's not the time and labor cost that makes the practice of mowing such an important part of a successful turf management program. To develop a good mowing program, it's first necessary to understand the workings of the turf grass plant itself. The natural growth pattern of turf grass is to grow and mature at a height far in excess of that required within the boundaries of play. By cutting the grass to the heights required will reduce to a significant extent the leaf area, thereby removing a substantial part of the plant's capacity to manufacture and supply itself with food in the form of carbohydrates. The plant's first priority to this loss of leaf area will be its immediate replacement. This replacement growth will require carbohydrates, and the plant's reaction may be to reduce the supply of this food to the root system. This is because in the supply of carbohydrates, the plant's leaf system always has priority over the roots. The larger the percentage of leaf area removed, the longer the period root growth may be reduced. Just as the amount of leaf surface removed has an effect on root growth, so does the cutting height. The turfgrass plant, like all other plants, develops a balance between its parts above ground and those below the surface. As mowing reduces the plant's top growth, it no longer requires the same size root area to sustain it. So, in order to maintain a balance, the plant reduces its root system. As a general rule, no more than 1/3 of the leaf area should be removed at any one time. This will allow the plant to recover from the last cutting and reduce wear damage and minimize thinning of the turf surface. It will also help to lower stresses on the root zone. Mowing height and growth rate are therefore critical factors that are going to influence mowing frequency. Selecting the optimum height of cut and frequency of mowing are two of the major tasks confronting the greenkeeper in maintaining a healthy, vigorous sward. The selection of mowing equipment is also dependent on a number of important factors. The intended use of the area should be the first consideration. For example, a reel mower produces a better cut than a rotary when operating at lower mowing heights. This is the reason why putting surfaces are cut with reel-type mowers. Height of cut should always be adjusted to the type of grass and its habit of growth. Turf grasses vary considerably in their tolerance to a given height of cut. Therefore, grass type and height of cut range are key factors in the selection of mowing equipment. The upper height of cut limit for a reel mower is around 35 to 40 millimeters. Rotary mowers, on the other hand, are less efficient at heights below 35 millimeters, but will provide a better cut than a reel mower in areas where a higher mowing height is required. For all machines, however, to function efficiently and safely, it's necessary to carry out routine maintenance. Before the start of any mowing operation, the machines must be prepared for use. In all instances, the operator's handbook should be available and used with each machine, so that the requirements and procedures are carried out correctly. Before undertaking any task, check that health and safety requirements are being maintained. The wearing of steel-capped boots and appropriate clothing is recommended, always ensuring that there are no loose ends to catch in moving parts. A thorough check of each machine used must be made by the operator to ensure it's in good working order and any faults reported. In addition to any checks and adjustments made to working parts, operators should inspect, if appropriate, the hydraulic oil level and pipes and joints to look for signs of leaks. Lubrication to moving parts should be undertaken as recommended by the manufacturer. Excess grease, however, must be removed, as this will get warm when the engine is running and may drip onto and damage the turf surface. Checks must also be made on the level of engine oil. To obtain an accurate reading, this should be done when the engine is cold. And the amount of fuel in the tank should also be checked. Both should be replenished as necessary. Tires will also require inspection for any damage and to ensure that they're inflated to the correct operating pressures. Testing will also be carried out to check that the machine's safety mechanisms are in place and working correctly. To provide an immediate start to the day, normal practice will have ensured that the machine is already set on cut and adjusted to height of cut for the conditions in which it will be working when the equipment was prepared for storage the previous day. Sharp, properly adjusted blades should always be used. Due to the areas involved, the cutting of fairways is the most time-consuming of all the various mowing operations undertaken on a golf course. It also produces the greatest wear and tear on machines and equipment. Fairways comprise of some 30 acres on a regulation 18-hole course. However, the true total area cut will depend on the mowing pattern adopted by the club. Some courses will mow narrow fairways, while others will adopt a more wide-open policy. Mowing frequency will also depend on such factors as the weather, season of the year, grass species, soil fertility, moisture, and so on. For instance, a typical mowing frequency on a parkland course in the spring and summer may be 3 times a week, compared to only once a week on a links course. The mowing height will also vary between course type, but will generally be in the 10 to 20 millimeter range. The purpose and function of a fairway is to indicate to the golfer the area in which the ball, if hit accurately, will be rewarded with a landing area that will provide a good surface from which to make the next shot. The mowing of fairways to clearly indicate the margins between this area and others on the course is one of the key tasks confronting a greenkeeper. Whenever possible, follow the greenkeeper's code of practice and avoid cutting when the course is busy, and try not to follow golfers but work against the play. Though the frequency of mowing will differ from one course type to another, the basic operation will remain the same. The type of mower selected for the mowing of fairways, however, will depend in general on the extent of the area involved and the nature of the terrain. The ideal features to note when selecting machines for the mowing of fairways will be a combination of large-scale productivity and good reliability, coupled with maneuverability and quality of cut. Extensive open fairways with space to maneuver will require a wide cutting swathe multi-reel unit, combined with a fast mowing speed, producing a high daily work output. In such situations, it's important to ensure the selected machine has enough power and a level of reliability that will allow it to operate for long periods at a time. Many courses with hilly terrain will also require the benefits of four-wheel drive for superior traction and enhanced safety, with power steering to reduce operator fatigue to the minimum. Large, soft-shouldered turf tires will assist in the lessening of compaction and the minimization of scuffing. To allow for ease of transport between different mowing sites, locked-up reels allow for secure speed of movement, providing for flexibility of movement and operation. The mowing of courses with narrow fairways and restricted room for operation will require a machine that offers the speed and durability of a multi-reel unit with the agility to maneuver in tight corners. Some fairways are cut right up to the green's perimeter, so a lightweight machine with free-floating trailed reels provides a high level of adaptability around the green, accurately following ground undulations and surround contours to provide a quality finish. Whichever type of machine is selected, it's important for the operator to understand what is happening at the site of the actual cutting operation itself. There are two special terms which apply to all mowers: the shear point and the clip. The cutting unit of a reel mower consists of a main frame and drive system, reel and bed bar, and knife assembly. The drive system could be chain, belt, hydraulic motor, or wheel. The main frame supports the reel, bed bar assembly, drive system, and ground sensing devices such as wheels, skids, or rollers. The reel consists of a number of helix-shaped blades mounted on a rotating shaft by means of discs or spiders. The bed knife is attached to the bed bar, which mounts in the main frame. The bed knife gathers grass before it, standing it upright for cutting. The point of cutting contact between the mower and the grass is called the shear point, and there are an infinite number of these points across the cutting unit's width. The shear point should be positioned behind the center line of the reel to maximize the gathering action of the bed knife. Shear point refers to the scissor-like shearing action of a reel-type mower. This cutting action requires the bed knife and reel blades to be sharp, matched, and in close relationship with each other. Reels, when sharp and properly adjusted, give a clean, even cut, which is unequaled by other types of mowers. In all mowing operations, the first cut will be crucial. First, select the direction of the cut and mow while steering towards a fixed reference point ahead. The operator, whilst driving, must always be on the lookout for coarse debris such as stones and branches, as well as golf balls. Once the first cut has been completed, the operator can follow the edges on the return pass as a guide to provide consistent lines with minimum overlap. From this point, the type of cut will depend on club choice. Where the course contours allow, mowing can follow the natural lines to produce an attractive flowing effect leading into the green or other point of interest, particularly striking when viewed from an elevated position. More traditionally, on wide-cut fairways, mowing can produce straight parallel lines up and down the fairway. A further alternative is the mowing of a cross-cut effect, produced by cutting in different directions on the diagonal. Cross-cutting in different directions ensures a more upright growing habit of the grass and provides better playability. Regularly changing the direction of the cut also will prevent nap formation, a growth grain effect caused by continually mowing in one direction. Always ensure the turns are made off the fairway to produce a consistent striped effect. A further important mowing term that operators need to consider is the clip. The forward distance traveled between cutting contacts, taken from the shear point, is known as the clip rate. The clip is often expressed in terms of cuts per meter. Factors that will affect the clip rate are number of cutting blades, ground speed, rotational speed of blades, an important consideration is the correct clip for the desired height of cut. As this sequence shows, the bed knife gathers grass behind the shear point and the reel blade gathers in front. Grass that extends beyond the limits of the forward shear point, yet tall enough to be in the blade path, is less likely to be cut. Reel blades may contact the grass in this area several times before actually gathering the grass. If the height of cut and clip measurements are not approximately equal, the reels will not provide enough cuts per meter. When this happens, the individual cuts will become visible. This effect is known as ribbing. To ensure that the reels are kept in the ideal position for improved ground contour following, an adjustable spring-loaded positive down pressure system helps to maintain the reels in position over varying contours. This system enables mowing to be undertaken at a faster rate whilst maintaining a consistent height of cut. In the past, turf grass mowing practice has allowed the grass clippings to fly, as is the case here using a tractor-trailed gang mower. With this type of machinery, often trailing 7-cylinder reels, speed of operation has been the key consideration, and not the practicality of boxing off and disposing of large quantities of grass. Leaving the clippings on the turf provides a replenishment of nutrients. However, current practice has seen more clubs boxing their clippings to remove poor seed heads and to improve course presentation. If this practice is followed, greenkeepers must be aware of the implications in respect of the turf's increased nutritional and moisture requirements. From a purely practical point of view, removal of grass clippings is only required when they interfere with the intended use of the area, or when the amount is such that they would smother out the turf. Boxed-off clippings should be disposed of either in concrete bunkers situated around the course, spread discreetly in the rough, or, if required by local authority regulations, disposed of at approved disposal sites away from the course. At all times whilst mowing, the operator should be aware of the play around him and position himself so as not to interfere with play. The cutting operation of the semi-rough adjoining the fairway must also follow the same considerations as regards operator awareness and the checking for any coarse debris that could cause mechanical damage to the mower blades. Semi-rough is normally cut once a week at a height range of 20 to 50 millimeters, depending on the type of course, season, and weather conditions prevailing at the time. The function and purpose of the semi-rough is to collect a ball that has just missed the fairway, preventing it from going into the rough. The player will still have a chance of making a reasonable shot, but will not have the same advantage as one whose ball remained on the fairway. Reel mowers can be very effective in mowing semi-rough and provide an excellent finish. Because of the conditions under which mowers are expected to work, the unit selected must have an engine capacity with enough power to operate productively and reliably in a wide range of course situations. Heavy, durable, floating cutting units, identically suspended and geometrically balanced, provide superior ground contour following for a superb quality of cut, regardless of terrain. Wide flotation tires with special tread improve traction and minimize scuffing, ideal for areas where compaction is a concern. Rotary mowers are also ideal machines for mowing the semi-rough. A wide cut deck, positioned out front, follows the ground like smaller trim mowers and provides excellent visibility. A rotary mower cuts grass by impacting the blade cutting edge against the grass blade at a very high velocity. This cutting action requires the cutting edge to be sharp and rotating at an adequate speed. A high level of durability, maneuverability, and flexibility, combined with the excellent traction provided by a four-wheel drive, are key factors when mowing in tight situations around trees and other static objects. 4 solid rubber deck caster wheels optimize ground contour following. Mistakes, however, should not be punished too severely, and if a distance is misjudged, either wing will pivot away from the struck object. The operator can simply reset the wing from the driver's seat by raising it off the ground and immediately continue the mowing operation. The rough, more than any other feature, serves to set the overall character of a golf course, whilst at the same time framing and defining the boundary of the fairway. It's also, as the name implies, an area on the course where a player expects his ball to find a lie that will inflict some degree of penalty. Rotary mowers are excellent machines for the cutting of the rough at heights of 50 to 100 millimeters. When cutting some rough areas, which may be only once a year, it's very important to walk the area to check on any coarse debris that may be hidden in the long grass. This is particularly important when mowing under mature trees from which branches may have fallen or where there are rocky outcrops. Traction and stability are important features when mowing in these situations, and the recycling of the grass clippings improves productivity as the need to collect and dispose of grass clippings is eliminated. Solid rubber deck caster wheels assist ground contour following, and features such as oversized anti-scalp rollers and adjustable skids virtually eliminate scalping. When cutting very long rough in steep hilly areas, it's vital that the unit selected has enough power and traction to contend with heavy conditions combined with a high level of productivity. Providing excellent rearward dispersion of the grass across the entire width of the deck and enough horsepower to contend with long hours of mowing rugged terrain, these machines will deliver a quality cut in the heaviest of conditions. Rough lines which flow with the coarse features and contours can add tremendous visual appeal and player interest. It also provides a conservation area for plant species, beneficial insects, and other wildlife to flourish in a secure and protected habitat, particularly in urban situations and intensively farmed areas. In some situations, grass clippings which contain nutrients will be removed from conservation areas so as not to upset the natural ecological balance. As with the rough, it is also important when mowing banks that the operator makes a visual check of the area to identify any coarse debris or other hidden obstructions. It's essential that only machines recommended for the task are used, and the machine manual should always be consulted on the limits to the degree of slope on which it can safely operate. These limits must never be exceeded. Before mowing, a risk assessment should always be carried out regarding the area to be cut, the conditions at the time of mowing, and the machinery to be used. Traction and stability, together with good visibility, are the key factors when selecting a ride-on machine for the mowing of banks. Four-wheel drive provides much enhanced traction compared to two-wheel differential lock machines. When working on slopes, a machine with a low center of gravity will provide additional security for the operator. A roll bar is an important safety feature, as is a seatbelt, which, if fitted, should always be worn. The amount of mowing undertaken on banks will depend on their location and club policy. Short-cut banks, particularly those that may come into play around a green, may need to be cut 3 times a week, others less frequently. with some banks only being cut once in a full year. When maneuvering on or around banked areas, machine scalping of the turf can be a major problem. It is essential that the machine selected is balanced to follow the surface contours without grounding, even when cutting areas with many undulations. In some difficult and potentially hazardous situations, the mowing of banks should only be undertaken using a hand mower, with the emphasis on safety to the operator and a result that leaves the area neat and tidy. Versatility, maneuverability, and the ability to deliver a high-quality cut are the characteristics needed for the mowing of teeing grounds. Tees come in all shapes, sizes, and varying elevations, with their purpose to provide the golfer with a defined area and a suitable surface from which to make a shot. They should be large enough to accommodate frequent changes of markers to avoid unnecessary turf wear in any one area. High elevated tees with steep sides will require a risk assessment to be carried out before mowing commences. Before mowing, a visual check will be required to remove any ground debris such as studs, tees, and divots. Discs and tee markers will need to be moved away from the mowing line. Compact, lightweight design machines produce less compaction of the teeing ground and produce a finer turf surface. Wide flotation tires with special tread enhance traction and minimize scuffing. Three-wheel drive machines allow for excellent maneuverability when close trimming in restricted spaces and with the engine positioned over the front wheels provide superior balance when negotiating slopes. Mowing should be in straight lines to produce an attractive visual effect, and as before, the accuracy of the first pass will be important to provide the direction for the remaining cuts. After the mowing operation has been completed, replace the tee markers back on the tee in their correct position. Hand mowing using single-unit pedestrian mowers may also be used to good effect to cut tees. They inflict less damage to the turf surface, produce a neat, tidy, clearly defined finish, and provide a visually attractive effect. Some courses may alternate between hand mowing in the winter and ride-on mowers throughout the high-growth spring and summer months. Producing a neat, tidy, clearly defined area for the surrounds and approaches is also an important task. Mowing in these situations requires a quality and consistency of cut that produces the surface required, yet provides a framework that complements the finer qualities of the putting surface. A lightweight mowing machine is the ideal choice to provide the necessary maneuverability required to follow the many contours encountered around the surrounds and approaches. The machine must also have a level of versatility and agility to produce a quality cut right up to the edges of the green and around the bunkers. The three-wheel drive system transfers the weight from the rear wheel to the front wheels when going downhill. This gives greater control and provides for safer operation. Two outer cutting units geometrically positioned out front allow the operator a clear field of view for close trimming and increased productivity. Ear defenders should be worn when operating any machinery if required by law or club policy. A typical mowing height range of 6 to 12 millimeters is required, and it's important to ensure that the grass is cut with a minimum of overlap. If play approaches during mowing, it is proper course courtesy to acknowledge the fact, and if it's reasonable to do so without causing undue delay, complete the task. At the end of the operation, a visual check of the surface will be carried out and any mower debris will be removed. Though it is important that the correct cutting practices are carried out on all areas of the course, the mowing of the putting surface is by far and away the most crucial. This is due to the quality of finish required from the cutting operation and the fact that mistakes are easy to make but difficult to correct. The function and purpose of a golf green is to provide a suitable landing area for the incoming ball, together with a consistent and true putting surface which allows the ball to accurately follow its line and contours. The area of the green should always be enough to allow the greenkeeper to make frequent changes of flag stick placement, so that wear will not be concentrated for long periods in one particular area. Height and frequency of cut will once again be dictated by the season and growth of the grass. As a general rule, greens are cut daily in the late spring and summer at a height of 5 millimeters. In the winter, however, this height may be raised to 6 millimeters or more, but frequency of cut will be reduced to once or twice a week. Timing of the mowing operation will be affected by a number of factors, such as competitions, the wear and tear of the surface due to the amount of play, the weather, and ground conditions. Before the cutting operation can begin, the mowing machine should be parked on the green's approach and, as in all situations, when the operator leaves the machine, the ignition must be turned off. A visual check is then made of the turf surface. A switch should always be carried on the machine to clear the area of surface debris such as stones, leaves, worm casts, or studs. The latter has been known to smash the bottom blades of mowing reels. Any pitch marks should also be repaired. Good mowing practice dictates that the flag should be taken out before mowing commences and placed away from the mowing line. Never take out the flagstick whilst driving past the hole, as it's both a potentially dangerous and damaging practice. Before driving the mower onto the putting surface, first position the machine on the apron in line with the center of the hole. Locate a fixed point behind the green and mow in a straight line towards it. Ensure the first cut is over the center of the hole. This will avoid any illusion in the player's mind of a borrow that may have been created by two mower passes in opposite directions, producing a dark and light impression over different parts of the hole. Always mow in straight lines, only turning when the machine is off the putting surface. This will prevent tearing or scuffing of the turf. The operator should also periodically check for oil leaks which may damage the turf. On damp surfaces, the rollers should be regularly inspected for a build-up of grass clippings which may affect the height of cut, and cleaned if necessary. Consistency and cleanliness of cut, the minimization of surface compaction, and agile handling characteristics are essential features when selecting a ride-on greens mower. Up-front seating will ensure an excellent view for precise maneuverability, and an adjustable steering arm provides for improved comfort and fatigue-free operation. To complete the mowing operation of the green, the perimeter can now be cut to define the putting surface and clean up any grass debris. The putting surface should again be checked for any further debris left by the mower and switched if required. The hole can then be trimmed neatly with scissors and the flagstick firmly replaced. Throughout this complete operation, the greenkeeper must be aware of golfers and the play around him and show the correct course courtesy at all times. Hand mowers are also used to good effect on greens, providing a high level of visual appeal. A well-balanced hand mower is essential to provide the superior finish that can be obtained by using these machines. A weighted front-to-rear bias offsets the operator's natural tendency to place weight on the handle, allowing the reel to follow accurately the ground contours. This ensures a consistent height of cut. Hand mowers do not produce wheel marks on the turf surface, and the smooth surface traction drums allow for easy turning to minimize scuffing, and a grooming reel attachment provides that special greens enhancement effect. Boxed clippings will be disposed of tidily. The removal of these clippings provides for a cleaner surface by the removal of grass debris and weed seeds. It also helps to prevent a possible build-up of undesirable organic fiber that would result if the clippings were not removed. The use of hand mowers as the sole means of cutting greens, however, is very labor-intensive, about 3 times longer to cut a typical green compared with a ride-on mower, and therefore their use in this respect is perhaps limited to clubs with a large labor resource. Hand mowers can, however, be used very effectively on weekdays when the course is quieter, complementing the ride-on mower's use throughout the busy weekend periods. They can also be used in the winter periods when frequency of cut is much reduced compared to the summer. At the end of a working day, all machines must be returned to their maintenance area and prepared for storage. All debris must be removed using either a hose or air line and brush if necessary, and disposed of in a designated area. Power washers should not be used as they can blow out grease from the machine's bearings. After washing, the machine will be driven to its storage area and a corrosion inhibitor may be applied as appropriate. The operator will make a quick check for any defects and report any findings to the head greenkeeper. To ensure an immediate start the following day, the cutting reels will be removed at this time for checking and readjustment if necessary. It is an essential requirement, before attempting to remove the cylinder reels, to undertake the required safety procedures, particularly the brake lock, and to isolate the individual drive motors. After removing the reels, the operator will check the height of cut and on-cut setting and make any adjustments as necessary. If a new height of cut setting is called for, alterations will be made to meet the new measurement requirements, and these will be adjusted until the operator is satisfied that the setting is correct. The on-cut settings will then be checked, adjusted, and set as required. Before the operator leaves for the day, the machine keys should be replaced in the key locker. At the end of the day, good mowing practice alone will not guarantee high-quality turf grass. There are too many other factors involved for that. But without the required knowledge to select the correct technique and match that know-how with the right machine for the task in hand, the desired result will never be achieved. Because when it comes to managing and maintaining high-quality turf grass, knowledge is your most valuable tool. This video has been sponsored by the Toro Company as their contribution to the education and training of golf course greenkeepers everywhere.